The new KTM Dukes are here. It's an exciting day. There's a new 390, a new 250 and a new 125, and they are updated comprehensively.
Got my heart no barging in from the bed to the floor to the couch. Might wake the neighbors up, break you in and break you out.
Welcome to Evo India, and I'm going to take you through this video where we break down everything you need to know about these new motorcycles. They all share a frame and a new design language, but there's a lot going on for each of these bikes, so I'm going to cover every single bit of information about them. Before we go ahead, make sure you like this video, not for me, for the new KTMs, because they look really cool. And if you don't think they look really cool, let me know in the comments below why you think so. Make sure you also subscribe to Evo India so you don't miss another video drop. Now, let's quickly dive into the video and start by talking about styling. These bikes, they look completely different from before. There's a new styling language and I absolutely love it. It's aggressive, it's raw, it's muscular, and I think it does a great job of capturing the aggressiveness, the muscle of the Super Duke into a much smaller, compact package that these small Dukes are. The new face, it looks aggressive. There's a new headlamp and a new tail lamp. Both of them are LEDs. The underbody exhaust is back. I really love that. I love how the bike looks from the side, especially the monoshock bit, how it's mounted offset from the center and not in the center. It really gives it a nice sporty look. You also get two colors for the 390. You get an orange and you get a blue. Both of them look incredibly cool. I'm not going to spend too much more time on the styling because there's a lot to talk about on the chassis front. There's a new split trellis frame, and the split trellis frame is not new in that the second generation of the Duke had a split trellis, but it is a completely new design. It gets better torsional rigidity compared to before, and better rigidity means better handling and better feedback to the rider, both things that a Duke rider would really appreciate. There's a longer wheelbase, there's a lower seat height, it's 820 mm compared to 822 mm on the current 390 Duke, and it can actually be lowered to 800 mm by removing the spacers underneath the seat. You've also got different frame geometry compared to before to make it more aggressive. Now, there's adjustable suspension front and rear. Whether India will get adjustable suspension or not, that is yet to be seen, but on the international spec models that have been unveiled, you do get adjustable suspension. So what do you get front and rear? Up front, you get 43 mm WP Apex open cartridge forks, and they are adjustable for compression and rebound. 150 mm of travel on them. The rear, you get this cool looking offset monoshock, so it's on the right hand side of the motorcycle, and it is adjustable for both preload and rebound. Now, there's one question as to why the monoshock is now offset. Yes, it looks cool, but that's not the only reason. It is offset because it allows KTM to fit a bigger airbox in there, and it also allows them to get a lower seat height compared to before. Now, the swing arm is also new. You can see that the monoshock mounts directly to the swing arm on the side. Looks really cool again. It looks very functional, very aggressive. And the swing arm shape is also different compared to before. In terms of the brakes, wheels and tires, you get lightweight wheels that have been debuted on the RC already. So that should make handling even nimbler than before. In terms of tires, well, they're spec'd with Michelin's abroad, but again, what comes in India, we are yet to see. It's possible it'll get Apollos. The Apollo tires are really good for the KTM, and if it does, we're not missing out on much, honestly. Now, the brakes, you get a 320 mm disc up front, 4-piston caliper, and at the rear, a 240 mm disc with a 2-piston caliper. In terms of the electronic safety aids that go along with it, you do get cornering ABS and Supermoto ABS, along with traction control on the 390. Now, let's talk about the engine. There's a new 399cc engine on the KTM 390 Duke, and the extra cc's compared to the current engine are thanks to a longer stroke. It does make a little more power. It makes 44.2 bhp and 39 Nm of torque. Compared to right now, that's about 0.8 bhp more, really marginal increase, and 2 Nm of torque more. There are 3 riding modes on offer now on the KTM 390 Duke, and they are Rain, Street, which is going to be a default mode, and there's also a track mode. And with track mode comes launch control. Launch control will actually hold the motorcycle at 7,000 RPM. When you dump the clutch, it will launch you to the horizon. So launch control on the 390, I'm very, very excited. The weight, we haven't spoken about that yet. There's not too much clarity on this front yet, but let me try and explain to you what we know. The KTM 390 Duke new model, it's going to weigh 165 kilos without fuel. Now, why is there no clarity about the difference? Is because KTM hasn't quoted an equivalent value for the current generation of 390. So what we know is that the current 390 is 150 kilos dry, which means without any fluid, no coolant, no engine oil, no brake fluid, none of that. And it's compared to a weight which is 165 kilos with all of that, like a wet weight without fuel. So we don't have a comparative weight between the two. We know the old one's 150 dry, the new one is 165 wet. When we get comparative weights, we'll be able to tell you more about them. On the features front, the 390 Duke gets a new 5-inch TFT dashboard. You get a new switch cube to control this dashboard, and my guess is it's going to be a little better in terms of ergonomics than before. And you get smartphone connectivity. You can play your music, receive your calls, and get turn-by-turn navigation right on the screen. Those are the updates for the 390. Now let's talk about the 250. The 250 gets a 249cc liquid-cooled single-cylinder engine, power 30.8 bhp and 25 Nm. In terms of the delta compared to before, it's 1.3 horsepower more and 1 Nm of torque more. Again, marginal increases. The weight, 165 kgs, just like the 390. Again, a weight that's quoted without fuel. It gets the same brakes as the 390. It gets the same seat height as the 390, but it misses out on the adjustable suspension. You don't get front adjustable suspension, and you only get preload adjustable rear. Another change is that the display on the 250 is not the same as the 390. It's a different display. Now let's talk about the 125 Duke. Here you get a 125cc liquid-cooled single-cylinder engine. Again, power and torque has changed slightly, but here it's gone down. So 14.7 bhp and 11.5 Nm torque, which is down by half a horsepower. The weight is 154 kilos, so it's significantly lighter than the other two, and this is without fuel. The rest of the specs, they remain pretty much the same as the 250 Duke, but interestingly, this gets the higher spec screen like the 390. Okay, that's it. That is all you need to know about these new motorcycles. And there's one big question that I think most people looking for a motorcycle in this price range have, and that is, should you wait? Look, we don't know when these motorcycles are going to launch. Our guess is sometime early next year. Should you wait for them? If you have the patience, my suggestion is wait, because these motorcycles, they look really cool. They're a significant upgrade in terms of chassis, engine, electronics, everything compared to the current spec 390, particularly on the 390. And for that reason, I think it's reason enough to wait. This is a really exciting motorcycle. I think it has the potential to make the 390 even more aggressive than it already is. It's already such a competent motorcycle, but a little bit of the rawness that was there in the first generation is missing. Maybe this generation will bring that back. I don't know. We're going to have to wait till we get our hands on these motorcycles in the flesh, ride them, and then give you a full verdict on what they're like to ride. But right now, on paper, that 390 looks so exciting. I love how it looks. I love the sound of what they've done to the engine, the chassis, everything. And I can't wait to ride it. Now, before we go, I want to hear from you. I want to know what you think of these new motorcycles. Do you like what KTM has done to them in terms of styling, in terms of the chassis and engine upgrades? Let me know in the comments below. We'll be keeping track of everything you say down there. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm Aatish Mishra, and I'll see you soon.